Okay, hello and welcome to the Cartographer community meeting. Today is February 2nd, and well, thank you for joining. I'll share my screen. Welcome, Ciro, Rash, Sam, Milan, everyone else. Cool. Okay, please make sure to add yourself to the attendees list if you don't mind. Today seems like we don't have new faces, but I'm really glad to see you all. So welcome. For the TLDR, I don't know if this section should be renamed to the big picture or something like that, because what's new in the project this week, at least from my limited point of view, maybe it has a lot to do with RFCs everywhere. I wanted to create a meme, but just RFCs everywhere, and we can check there on the public project board what team is actually doing right now. But probably for a user out there who's just getting started with the tool or who doesn't have enough context, what could be a good summary of all big picture for all the work that the team is doing right now, or what's new in the project?
I think there's been at least one open talk about Cartographer in the last week, and there seems to be an uptick in public discussions. I think that's one thing.
Yeah, right.
Another thing is, like, just personally, I've taken a strong interest in what we can do to provide live editing and live visualization of supply chain designs and workload design. Nothing concrete on that yet, but finding that there are a lot of people interested.
Yeah, I've seen some interest, not only in the internal session we had this week, but several times, even myself as a user would like to have some visual editor, some visual way to see the all the steps in the supply chain. So I believe you already have an issue for that, Rash, is that
I
correct?
do. Yep. I do.
If you
I've
could.
already created a sample visualizer as well, which I might link in as well, just so people can see it. It's based on an RFC, but the concept is pretty sound.
Yeah, if you don't mind, you could put it there in the notes. So thank you.
Milan, this is just a good FYI for you too. I don't know if everyone knows Milan, but he works on the UI team. And so, yeah, this might be cool for you to talk to Rash about at some point too.
Absolutely. You know, the work we are doing is mainly focused on visualizing the supply chains at this point. And, you know, we kind of made a bit of progress, still not sure how that fits in. And that's obviously inside a little different framework, and we can talk about that some time on this meeting, but definitely has something to maybe synchronize those efforts.
Oh, I'd happily do so. That'd be great. So please reach out to me as soon as you got a moment.
Sounds good.
Great, thank you, Milan. Yeah, feel free to share any progress or anything you consider it feasible to share here. Would be awesome. Okay, component order should not affect stamping of resources.
Yeah, this was a small bug fix we made last week, I guess. Sorry. Yeah, basically, if we ever encountered an error while trying to stamp out a template, it would just halt and then wouldn't proceed and through the rest of the supply chain, even if there were other resources that could be stamped. So we just fixed this so that, yeah, if you run into a failure, it doesn't stop propagation of everything else in the supply chain.
That's great. That's great. Okay, cool. Thank you. Great. Well, from previous meeting, we had basically a whole session for RFC discussion mainly. So we didn't have any follow-up item there. Okay. Open my discussion. This one was proposed by Raj and I believe also Maddie, but Mari is not available today. So yeah, the idea was to use public meeting time just to quickly introduce RFCs. And if the RFC is created by someone who's not in the core team, who's not part of the core team, to receive feedback, to get feedback and try to keep the discussion as async as possible. So what will be the implications of that? We will, time box the RFCs to just make it to a proper introduction and prioritize them and just keep the discussion async. What are your feelings about that?
I just wanted to be just a little bit more concise. The idea I'm proposing is that not asynchronicity, like definitely use that, but also feel welcome to ask for, especially with the maintainers team, we can have impromptu discussions just as long as they get captured in our async, which is basically in the comments of an RFC. I think also we're pretty willing to support any open source contributor who wants to have a talk with us. We'll definitely make time to talk to them as well. But that in these meetings, we make sure we get through the introduction to RFCs, because the goal is to know what's on the board and what we need to consider, and to make sure that we've carved out time to see that. And especially if it's being introduced by someone external to the maintainers team, that's when we really want to hear from people. And that might be the one time we go a little over time to make sure that we've captured whatever it is that they're proposing, all right, so that they feel included. But the rest of us have the opportunity to talk to each other any old time we like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me, it makes sense. Thank you, Raj, for this. Okay, any other comment regarding this? No? Okay, cool, thanks. Great, yeah, we had last week a Tansu Code live streaming. The goal was to walk through a new user on how to install Cartographer and how to use it. So the recording is there because Twitch recordings are there just for 1 or 2 weeks. So it's now on YouTube. The link we provided here is the point in time when the Cora, the developer advocate, start describing what is happening inside Cartographer at each step, and she continues the conversation from that point on. So hope you can find it useful. Also for next week, we have a TGIK episode coming up. TGIK, or Thanks Goodness It's Kubernetes, the original show that Joe Bira started back in Heptio days. And now it has a rotating host schema. I will be the host for next week. And we will have an interesting introduction to the value proposition of Cartographer, the why behind the project, and a demo. So we hope you can join. Also for the multiple paths RFC, Raj provided a quick intro on the office hour session, but we were wondering if folks feel that we need further intro for this one. Is it clear the goals of this RFP? Right, okay. Cool, so I believe the intro is done.
Ash, do you want to talk about that?
No, it was an open question. It was an open question if anyone wanted me to go any deeper into it. I've just noticed that when I link to the RFC, it's not grabbing the latest updates in the PR. So I got to be careful about that, it would seem. So just know that there's actually an update to the RFC and the link at the top of it is invalid. I'm just going to delete it. But yeah, I'm working on it. I'm updating it. I'd like to see that people actually investigate it and have some opinions so that we can, I think, make a decision. I just feel like we have roadmap requirements to make decisions between this and snippets at this point. So I'd really like to get feedback as soon as possible. I don't know what we're going to do to drum up and ensure that we hit quorum quickly, but I'm free to talk about any questions anyone has about it.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Raj. Great. Okay, and this was an outstanding question from myself. We discussed a couple of community meetings ago, I believe, the idea, the suggestion to move the contents of issue triage or kind of pre-IPM meetings to the open, making it part of the community meetings agenda. Question is if we are ready to do it, well, that will be now, probably not. But if there are no objections, if we could start trying it next meeting.
Project manager would need to be present.
Mm.
He's not awake at this time of day, I don't think. Or he's probably awake, but not ready to start.
Okay, that's important.
Sorry, the ask isn't to do it in this meeting, right? It's to open up an IPM or a pre-IPM meeting.
That's what I had thought.
Yeah, at least the pre-IPM content here. Mm-hmm. Is that feasible?
The suggestion is that you're welcome to attend our existing IPM and not mess up the community meeting or the office hours.
Okay.
And I think that's entirely feasible. We just need to advertise when our IPM is.
Yeah.
So you say, okay.
The only wrinkle is that it's the same day as our office hours. So I don't know, maybe eventually we want to spread out office hours to a different day so we don't have two things happening the same day. But
yeah, I believe pre-IPM is on Fridays. That's what I saw in the calendar. But yeah, the suggestion from Brash is to just basically stream the pre-IPM meeting itself, right?
Right.
Record and upload. Okay.
Advertise that it's available for people to attend. Probably fly on the wall. I haven't really thought about that, but the idea was to open up awareness and how we're doing planning, correct?
Right. Yeah, right. If in the future there are users, contributors who like to discuss priority for their issues, I don't know if that will be the correct place to do it. But anyways, if it happens in the community meeting or in a separate meeting, the whole goal is just to make sure that we are prioritizing user feedback issues that come from the community. Or at least we open up the process to prioritize.
Yeah,
right?
Sounds good.
Cool. Cool, that's great. Okay, well, I think that's it so far. Any other comment, suggestion, idea? No? Okay. Thank you for joining and thank you for your time. See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.